Go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon Podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon Podcast. Ethereum just hit a major milestone, 10 years of 100% uptime, no downtime, no breaks. Through forks, hacks, and the merge, the chain kept ticking. Our guest today isn't just a witness, he helped build it. Preston Van Loon, co-founder of Prysmatic Labs and a core Ethereum developer, led the team behind the Prysm client that helped transition Ethereum from proof of work to proof of stake. Today, he's pushing Ethereum's evolution forward with Arbitrum and off-chain labs. Welcome to the pod.
Yeah, happy to be here.
I cut myself today with slicing an onion. Have you ever cut yourself? Preston?
I'm sure I have at some point. Paper cut? Do paper cuts count?
Yeah, it suck. I just want to get that out of the way because you'll see this thing float by, and then people are like, "What is Rocco doing?" So just like this happened today. It sucks. Anyways, what does 10 years of 100% uptime really say about Ethereum's architecture and community? Is it that impressive? Shouldn't we just accept it as, hey, that's what it's supposed to do?
It is what it's supposed to do, and the impressive feat is that we've actually done it. And I think all blockchains aim for uptime, right? They want to be this unstoppable platform, but here's Ethereum that's invested heavily in a lot of techniques to put liveness as the number one priority, and we've seen that through the last 10 years. The chain's never gone down. It's always been chugging along the last 10 years. Pretty impressive.
What's been the most underrated challenge behind the scenes so that people maybe people don't know about?
Underrated challenges as building the protocol.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think most Ethereum users are connecting to usually a hosted instance of Ethereum, right? Most people don't run their own nodes.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit underappreciated, the work that goes into making it easy to run the nodes. In particular, when you run an Ethereum node, you have to process all of the data from Genesis, right? You have to retain all this data, even if you only care about what's happening right now. And so we have a lot of effort that's gone in to make that a lot easier for node operators. So they've it's mostly on the execution layer side where they're retaining all the state. They're able to have new techniques in data storage and reducing the number of IO inputs for the disk, and just in general make it easier. Like I know the one of the teams just released an update where you can prune away all the history that happened before the merge, because that was 3 years ago, and you don't really need that data. And that's like a huge improvement on disk space. So I think the efforts there in terms of usability for node operators is, it's not very exciting for like users of Ethereum. They're like, oh, I want the next like dApp or whatever they're using on chain. But the things that power everything in Ethereum, there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. That's not always appreciated. I think
the shiny glitz and glamour and stuff, and the marketing. The in the trenches side of building. For my community especially, that might not know what a core dev or Ethereum core dev is, what exactly is it, and how does it differ from just like sort of being involved?
If you're involved in any way, you can probably call yourself a core dev. Definition, I would say, is anybody who's contributing to research or development of the Ethereum core protocol itself in a meaningful way, or any way that's substantial.
Okay,
that can be a core developer. And so it doesn't always mean like writing code, right? Like there's the word developer in there, but there are people that are really doing a lot of data analysis and looking at the economics of things. So, you could be a core dev for simply writing an EIP, which is an Ethereum improvement proposal, which is written in, plain English that humans can read. It's not code or anything like that. But those are what drive the protocol itself. So if you're doing anything along this line, so you can call yourself a core developer.
What's the easiest way to get involved? Let's say I'm interested in blockchain and maybe I'm studying in that direction or something like that. What's the easiest way to get involved?
If you want to get involved at the protocol
Mm.
level, there's a few different ways. I think the first way would be to go into the various forums that are online and start reading about what the latest research is. So there's the
Mm-hmm.
ETH research forums. Um, there's also Ethereum cat herders, which is kind of more high level information about what's going on in Ethereum. Then we have our Discord servers. There's a ETH R&D Discord server. I think all this is on ethereum.org.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for links, that's probably where you'll find them.
Basically, get involved in the community, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, it's community first. You start
Yeah.
talking to
Oh, I love
people,
it.
right? And if you want to talk to a core dev, I find they're really easy to reach. You know, they are always happy to answer questions, and um, we're really looking for feedback from real users as well. So if you're reading research and you're saying, you know what, like that's going to mess with an app that I was building or have built, we want to hear about it. We want to hear about your experience and how we can help you, because really we're stewards to the protocol and to the users. So we want to make it a nice place for everybody, and that's including you and the listener.
That's awesome. Talk to me about Prysm and sort of the transition to proof of stake. What's made it different from sort of the other transitions that there were in the past?
Yeah, the switch from proof of work to proof of stake was quite challenging.
Mm.
It's the analogy we like to use before we did it was that we're all flying on a jumbo jet, flying through the sky, and we're going to go out there on the wing and change out the engine in flight. You know, it's really complicated, and there's a lot at stake there. So
No pun
what we've
intended.
done exactly what we've done is we wrote Prysm as one of several. We call them consensus layer clients. We launched a second chain that ran parallel to Ethereum, and this was called the Beacon chain. And what the Beacon chain did was it was responsible for coming to consensus about what is happening. It's where all the validators are coming to agreement. That's where all the like balances and rewards are held. So we launched that in, I think, 2019, somewhere like December, I think, or maybe it's 2020. I don't recall, but it was a few years before the actual merge happened. We ran that in parallel to say, will this blockchain, the Beacon chain, work? Before we switched everything over to it, we kind of ran it as like, could think of it as an incentivized testnet, because people had to really take a leap of faith. They would put in their deposit. There was no exit built in. Like it was really reliant on like the developers finishing the mission. And then a few years later, after we had done a couple upgrades in the Beacon chain, we had sort of proved this was going to work. And now we would make it come to consensus on what's happening on the execution side. And that's the side that has all of the state, all of the apps, all of the transactions, like everything that's happening, which was previously secured by proof of work. We'll merge these two chains into one. And so now they're tightly coupled, and you have the consensus layer coming to agreement on what the execution layer is saying. So you have all the validators voting on everything and building blocks. And that was really, really exciting.
So let's shift a bit and talk about the financial aspect of, well, the global financial aspect of Ethereum, and sort of we've seen Ethereum grow as a global settlement layer. What's the vision going forward, especially with sort of the growth of Arbitrum and other L2s? What's the vision from where we are now going into the future?
Generally, the vision for Ethereum is to go back to scaling. So we want to scale the L1. We want to scale L2s as well, benefit from the scaling of L1. We want to improve blob throughput, which is benefiting L2s, and improve usability. And these are kind of like the three major things.
What's the challenge there? What's the biggest challenge?
What's
biggest challenge? Because I think I get the gist of what you want to do, but what's the challenge to get there?
Sorry, the audio cut out. Maybe
No.
there. No. My headphones came unplugged.
Uh,
You just repeat your sentence. I think
I
that I
was
got
I
you.
was saying, what is, I get the gist of what the vision is, right? Scaling, and but what's the
Yeah.
biggest challenge there? Like, how do we get there? Is there a challenge getting there, or is it just like, oh, we need to do this, and then we get there?
I think we pretty well understand the way we want to get there.
Mm,
And the first like big meaningful one is we want to reduce the interval between blocks,
mm,
which we call the slot time.
mm,
Every slot right now is 12 seconds, right? It's this fixed timing of when a slot could be
mm,
produced or a block could be produced, which is different from proof of work, which is more probabilistic. Like it was
mm,
supposed to come every 12 seconds,
mm,
or 14 seconds. And now we have a very rigid time that it will come, the block will come. So what we can do is we can try, let's just reduce that to, let's say, 6 seconds. Um, so that's like a really easy to understand solution and
mm-hmm,
very viable. On the technical side of things, it has a lot of implications because when we built this, nobody really planned for reducing the slot time, which
mm,
maybe was naive, but you only know what you know at the time. So going back and looking at all the code, there's a lot of assumptions that this was invariant, a constant in the system. So it sounds like not a lot of work, but it would be a lot of work.
mm,
Um, so that's like, but that's a meaningful increase in throughput because you have twice as many blocks per day, which is twice as much block space per day. And then there are some extra effects that come with that. So when there's more blocks per day, there's more state usage. So we have to go back to the problem of how do we improve the UX of running the node because you wouldn't want to run out of disk space too quickly. Other things we can do that I think
mm-hmm,
people are working on, there are ways that you can process blocks faster. So they have this idea where if you know what fields in the state a transaction is touching, you can look at all your transactions in a block and see which ones are completely independent of each other, and you can process those in parallel. So,
whoa,
we have transactions in an order in a block, and there's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, we just process them all in order.
uh-huh,
But if you knew that none of them would affect the outcome of any of them, you could process them in parallel. So it goes from having a single threaded CPU to have a multi-threaded CPU. And while that doesn't necessarily make blocks come faster, what it does enable us to do is to further reduce the slot time because we can process blocks faster. So you can go from 6 seconds to maybe 3 seconds and go farther down, maybe to 1 second. In the future, we keep working on improvements like that.
Is that maybe one of the reasons why you think stable coins have become sort of the go-to platform for on Ethereum? Because I see it's like the most of the stable coins are choosing Ethereum or Ethereum-based platforms. Is that scalability going forward, do you think?
I think it's very promising for stablecoin usage. I think currently people are leaning in because we see it's a very mature platform. Ethereum
Mm,
is celebrating 10 years of uptime.
yeah.
And when you're coming to like when you claim that you want to be the like global financial layer, having 24/7 access to those funds is critical. You can't afford a 1 hour outage or any kind of outage when you're talking about the global finance. It wouldn't stop. It would be a big deal. So
Yeah.
that's really important. And then seeing the roadmap of Ethereum and saying, okay, well, if it's great now, there's a lot of improvements to come. They've been delivering on all these improvements. I think it's reassuring that this is a safe bet to make, and it's pretty smart for stablecoins to
Mm.
choose Ethereum.
What was the initial aim or vision for Ethereum when it started, right at the very beginning, and what it is now? Because I feel it's sort of Ethereum's become financialized or like this financial product. Was it always when it started? Was it the goal to get to here, or did it change somewhere down the line?
Good question. I think originally the goal for Ethereum was to have a general purpose computing platform on a blockchain, right? So we could see Bitcoin's this cool idea. You can have peer-to-peer money. There's no intermediaries. You don't have to trust anybody. You just can transact in normal kind of or in real time and peer-to-peer. And the next level was like, well, Bitcoin has very primitive scripting. You can't really do much with it. You can do a few things, but Ethereum says we'll take that to the next level and be general purpose. You can deploy anything you want, and that was a really interesting paradigm. So the analogy we had was going from like a flip phone or a Nokia phone to a smartphone where you have an app store. When the goal was to make phone calls and send text messages, that old tech worked really well. But then when you're living in the modern times, you kind of want the ability to deploy anything to the device, and that's where Ethereum was going. And as far as it comes with like the grand vision of like what did Ethereum expect to be, I think it was very much like to the cyberpunk methodology of like, oh, we want to make this tech that's like, and it's inherently unstoppable and important. And I think what we're seeing with, Wall Street and these other like big institutions is that vision's being more and more realized, and people are finding it valuable, which is sort of vindicating of the original mission. So I think it's a positive thing.
Awesome. Last question before I let you go. If let's say Ethereum's still running perfectly in another 10 years, what do you hope it will enable that it can't do today?
I want to see Ethereum go from mostly a novelty to a commodity that's really used every day. I think you can argue it's a commodity today, but I want to go to the grocery store and buy my groceries on Ethereum, not just like a credit card.
Not the settlement layer, right? Yeah, not that it's being settled in USD and then because
Yeah, I want to do like an actual P2P transaction. I want to tap my phone to the thing, got my private key on there, loaded with a couple $100. I'm buying my stuff, and it was as good as cash. Like cash was real P2P money. They gave it to you, and I didn't have to ask anyone for permission, and that was it. I want to see that. I want to see more real world stuff on Ethereum, like maybe proof of ownership of things, like a car title or a house deed. I want to see more privacy tech. I want to see those things I mentioned, but enshrined in like zero knowledge transactions or some kind of proof that it can tell you, oh, I own this house and I can prove it to you with this proof, but I don't have to make that public.
Yeah,
because there's a huge privacy concern if we put everything on chain. But if I can put it on chain, but only reveal it when I choose to, that's really powerful. And I just really want to see more and more adoption for everyday people. You don't need to understand how it works. Like, I don't expect that we have everybody out there like wanting to run a validator, perhaps, but people will understand that there's a new framework and protocol that we can use in everyday life, which is like cash, but even better. That can be Ethereum with this general purpose platform.
Awesome. Love it. Preston, thank you so much for joining me today. If the listeners want to go and connect with you, where can they find you?
I'm on X, Twitter, Preston_Van Loon. GitHub, of course, is my name, Preston Van Loon. If you want to reach out, I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you want to get involved, I'd be really interested in guiding you along. So
awesome. We'll put all the links in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. And to our listeners, peace, love, and prosperity. And catch you on the next one. Cheers.
When it's cold at night, you can warm me up, alright. When it's cold at night, you can warm me up, alright. We can play under covers. Oh, oh. We can play like lovers. Oh, oh. When it's cold at night, you can warm me up, alright. When it's cold at night, you can warm me up, alright. We can play it under covers. Oh, oh. We can play it like lovers. Oh, oh. When at night, you can warm me up, alright. When it's cold at night, you can warm me up, alright. Here and now with you, put me down for two, alright. You can be my golden sunshine. Hey, hey, you can be the one I call mine. Oh, oh, when it's cold at night, you can warm me up, alright. When I'm empty, you can fill me up, alright, alright. You can bring me your problems, oh, oh, as long as you give me your hand. Ah, oh, baby, I'm here with you and we'll get through everything, oh. You can be my golden sunshine, baby. You can be the one I call mine, oh, oh. When it's cold at night, you can warm me up, alright. When it's cold at night, you can warm me up, alright. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. You can be my golden sunshine, baby. You can be the one I call mine, oh, oh. When it's cold at night, you can warm me up, oh. When it's cold at night, you can warm me up, alright. You can be my golden sunshine, baby. You can be